Assalamu alaikum bade wono ngammo be konton wato nal konton wala anal bade manon Suleiman Jam na channel auto mengira Politiko Bantaba momo ben follow kan na YouTube channel auto is subscribe ya share ya like.
You welcome back to Coffee Time.
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter, for hosting me once again.
Fantastic.
And I'm glad that the studio is even more fantastic than I missed it before.
You're very kind.
I enjoy being
here.
here.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
And also to your wonderful viewers,
we
and
enjoy
on the audience.
We enjoy your company.
Tell
us what a UDP National Youth President does.
He does that one outreach across and outside the country with the militant groups of the party, militants of the party. Consistently engage with them, also listen to their concerns, to try to incorporate those concerns into a policy that the party should consider if elected in government. It's an important role that has a day-to-day activity in terms of propagating programs and policies, trying to get the views and the opinions of fellow youths and also women across the country and even outside the country, to ensure that whenever the UDP government is coming, has to consider or prioritize those needs, because young people, as we know, that they are the backbone of our society, and those views of those young people cannot be left behind. And this is why UDP has made it important to ensure that that vital component of the society supposed to be given that opportunity to be represented fully in terms of the party's programs and policies.
So how do you interact with young people both in and outside of the country?
I made myself very open, as I found the UDP youth presidency is doing before, my predecessors. They ensure that whenever there is an opportunity to interact with young people, whether it is going to be VU to VU, a radio program, a TV program, seminars, you have to make yourself available to make sure that those young people you inspire have to get your presence to put their concerns, views, and opinions to you. So we interact with them, football fields, naming ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, at the Bantabas, VUs, and many other avenues that might be available to us, to definitely consider that we are there for them.
So every gathering, every potential gathering is an opportunity for you to, communicate to the message of the UDP and also hear back from people.
From people.
And what's been the feedback from the people, from young people like?
The feedback we constantly get from young people, among them is most of them are getting fed up with the type of politics Gambia is now known to be. That is like what they call, they only promise, but they don't deliver. So it is giving young people headache, whether they should even trust politicians anymore. So that makes it very tough.
And when you say politicians both in government and out of government?
Politicians, mainly in government, because those in government, many times those young people will point their fingers to that before they are in government, they promise them something. And that's why the statement you read, it reflected back on where we were. Mm-hmm. And then yesterday, like if I say yesterday, means that 1994, there was something that happened in this country. And that is what called a coup d'etat, to get away from a democratic elected government to a military ruling. That coup d'etat has make sure that an emerging political group coming into formation, which is called the United Democratic Party. So at the time they were fighting for democracy, and up to 2016, that's the democracy they are fighting for, because our laws at the time democratically were overthrown, and military ruling that led to some draconian or how do I call it, tailor-made laws to make it a constitution to fit the size of one individual that has been the governance system we were before 2016. And in 2016, that's why those group of people form a group or an association called Coalition 2016 to fight, to get away from those military design laws, laws that are dictatorial, to ensure that Gambians have a country that will be governed by their wishes and aspirations. And that is why the Coalition 2016, they came up with a reform agenda. That was to try to address the 1997 constitution, to change it with a constitution that's going to be the desire of the Gambian people, and also some laws that are called the Public Order Act, to do away with those ones, and then reform the economy of this country, which is an economic reform agenda, and also the civil service security sector reform. This was what led to the formation of the Coalition 2016, and as I said it, where are we today? That reflection is important for young people to understand.
Where are we today, Haji?
We are here today because lack of political will has caused us the change that we desire, makes us to fail to achieve that change. Because 2016, the coalition government led by President Adama Barrow promised Gambians that he's going to usher us into a third republic by changing the 1997 constitution to bring in a new constitution. But today we failed that draft constitution because of a political ambition that is beyond the terms limits, and also the promise he gave to Gambian people that he is going to serve for some particular years. So also we are here today. The country is having a huge debt burden on itself because of the greed for power, to misprioritize in spending the public funds onto areas that are not beneficiary to Gambian citizens. So we are here today now calling for another change. And that's why I said, where do we want to be? Where do we want our country to go tomorrow when we are making another change? So
on the issue of the Third Republic being delayed in being ushered in, a lot of people would blame your party because, well, you had the arguments on radio here from people on the other side that when the 2020 constitution was being voted on in Parliament, the UDP was basically, the party in government. And then the 2024, UDP National Assembly members are proud to have contributed to its demise.
2024 constitution came in for a purpose, but the constitution that Gambian people are constantly fighting for, it is the constitution that UDP stand for, and we voted for that one. That one is for the real change that people desire to have in their governance system. The governance system that is considered the views and aspirations of every Gambian citizen, that was the 2020 draft constitution. So UDP did not reject the 2024 draft constitution. We recall for the retabling of the 2020 draft constitution, because that is where Gambians invested almost $116 million to ensure that the views and aspirations of every Gambian should be captured, and has been captured. If I say has been captured, means that the CRC made a consultation across the length and breadth of the country, including the diaspora, to ensure that when they are bringing in a law or drafting a law, they must capture those views. So that constitution or draft constitution was thrown away by a group of 23 people who pretend or said they are loyal to Barrow, and that draft constitution has come to discriminate President Barrow. So they rejected the 2020 draft constitution without considering Gambian people's view. 2020 draft constitution came without any consultation, designed and then crafted by cabinet.
You mean the 2024 draft?
2024 draft, I mean.
Okay.
Crafted by cabinet, a few members of the cabinet. I don't even think the entire cabinet have participated in that. So they wanted to retable it to ensure that Barrow get what he wanted, different from what Gambian people want. Because in 2020 draft constitution, Gambian people wanted that there must be an accountability, there must be an integrity in leadership, and there must be a leadership that is responsive to the needs and aspirations of Gambian citizens. So in that one, they have considered when you are coming to be appointed as a minister, you have to show what you have. And after being appointed, if you are exiting also, you must show to Gambian citizens that this is what I have. Before I come, this is what I have. So after leaving, this is what I have. So in the 2024 draft constitution, they get it down, they water it down. In the 2020 draft constitution, Uncle Peter, you know that what we are going through today, there is a portion that's very important. That is to ensure that free education has not only been the desire of the government, but it's a constitution that the government will be respecting. But they get it out there. They do not respect it. Parliamentary is a very fundamental pillar in democracy. In the 2020 draft constitution, it is very clear that the president cannot nominate parliamentarians, a member of parliament, because that is something, if I am elected, like in Basse constituent, by the people of Basse are 3 or 4, 5,000 people. Their power is equal to one individual. That is, one individual can appoint a member in this parliament. The desire that the people of Basse want, this individual can overthrow it. So in the 2020 draft constitution, it considers that parliament is a fundamental pillar in democracy. Therefore, must be elected by the people to hold like an accountable mechanism to the executive, as far as checks and balances are concerned. But in the 2024 draft constitution, Barrow did not only will not only nominate National Assembly members, but can even fire that particular individual he appointed. So we think that is very.
If that draft was passed, it could be Usainu Dabo one day.
And that is the power we don't want Usainu Dabo to have. And that's why the UDP maintained the 2020 draft constitution, because we think that the president should be accountable to the people. And people representative to that accountability mainly is the parliament. So if the president has the powers to appoint an individual in that house, means that the president can remote control that person. And if that happens, means that what we have, as far as checks and balances are concerned, cannot be achieved, because somebody should be answerable to us. Instead, is answerable to somebody we also elected, and to elect this one also to check that person. That person now has the powers to nominate that individual. How would you have that check and balance being the way that we want? So the powers that we don't want Usain Dabo to have is because of those reasons we rejected the 2024 draft constitution. It's not for the interest of the UDP, but in the interest of the Gambian people in general.
Another thing you address in your message is what you describe as the core issue hampering our progress. And you name that issue as endemic corruption. Recently, we saw that the government has come out to catalogue cases against civil servants across ministries suspected of involvement in corruption. Surely the government is beginning to listen to the young people of this country.
Yes, one would say that they begin to listen, because they know that young people now will not sit at our comfort zones to allow corruption to ruin our lives. I can tell you a case. From May 2025, this last May, to June 2025, in the space of 1 month, almost more than 2,000 young people, Uncle Peter, left this country in search of a greener pasture.
2,000?
2,000 people, more than. This was revealed by International Organization for Migration, IOM. If those 2,000 young people can risk their life in the deserts or in the waters, do you think our country, we are in peace? We are not in peace. Peace is not only in the absence of war. It doesn't mean that we have to take guns and then start killing each other. No, that's not peace. Young people must start trusting that their country can give them the environment, create the environment that they can go in a day. In the morning, if I wake up, I will not think about, is my mom who's going to give me a half bread and butter. But I should be able to bring back to my family something that they expect from me. If you wake up in the morning as a young person, you don't have that environment, you don't have that opportunity, the stress comes in. And what comes into your mind, that's the last resort, is to take the back route. It is not a desire of the young people or a wish for them to go and kill themselves in the water. Because I always say that if you see somebody running to throw himself in the river, know that there's fire behind. If there's no fire behind, bush fire behind, that's going to consume you, there's no need for you to throw yourself in the river. But this country, the greener pasture we are looking outside of the country, the pasture exists here. What is stopping us from having that pasture here, Uncle Peter? It is corruption. And that's why I call it endemic. Because it's rooted It is not only rooted, but the president himself confirmed that corruption is rooted here.
He confirmed it.
Of course, he confirmed it. Because when he can say that corruption is like as well as human beings, what does that mean? He confirmed that his government is corrupt and there's corruption here, but he has no solution to it. And in fact, he confirmed that himself is corrupt. Because
he confirmed that he
of
himself
course,
is
that's
corrupt?
a confirmation that himself is corrupt.
Just because he says corruption is as old as
Yes.
mankind,
we were not on this land. We are not existing in this. There was a purpose why we were here. If corruption is as old as human being, but because of that corruption, there were a punishment, even from God. Adam and Eve, anyway, they were stopped not to eat a particular tree. But because of that kind of inducements or seductions, they were tempted to eat it. When it happened, what happened next? God sent them from Jannah to this dunya. And that's a source of punishment. It's a source of punishment.
So corrupt people should be punished.
If corruption should be punished, a leader should not confirm the corruption is existing, and somebody must go and hold somebody's hand to bring that person before he take an action.
Yeah, but I just said that I'm sure you were at the press conference.
I was not there. I was following.
Okay, you were following, where the finance minister, detailed cases that are, now being prosecuted.
Yeah, but I and you are here. Mm-hmm. We know cases like the then late, may his soul rest in perfect peace, agriculture minister, Uncle O.J. Jallow, at his time, there was a corruption scandal in his ministry regarding about the fertilizer issue sold to Senegal, sold in Senegal. Mm-hmm. That case was at the ministry. Up to date, there was no trial. Corruption can go to courts. Yes, it's true. That's why the 20 million 2021 failed scandal was at court. People were, anyway, arrested, taken to the courts. 7 charges levied against them. But no single charge was being able to prosecute those individuals. And yet still, that's 20 million US dollars is nowhere to be found. The government came out here and said that they are not going to leave any stone unturned. There will be no sacred cow in it. So they said from the spokesperson's own tongue, said they are going to institute a forensic audit to ensure that wherever those funds went to, whoever is involved, the person is not going to be left free. They'll be prosecuting them. But since 2021 up to date, nowhere to find that case. So if they said that cases are at the court, so we don't have any option, you can take a case to the court, but is there any will to prosecute that case? It's just to please our face. It's just to tell people that justification that we take it to the court, so the courts have their powers to do so. But the court cannot just prosecute somebody without you providing the evidence. You must provide evidence, and those evidence, you know that you yourself could be conflicted. Will you provide them? You will not provide them. And that's why that 20 million fuel scandal, 2021, that huge fuel shortage still went unaccounted for. So the 70 children case about that acute kidney injury issue, it is the parents whom take it upon themselves because the government was not willing. The government was trying to bribe them. Instead of trying to find mechanisms of accountability, they tried to bribe the parents.
They call it compensation. They were trying to compensate.
I call it bribery. Don't talk about it. This is Allah's will. So when Allah wills something, nobody does anything about it. Nobody can do it. So now we, as government, we want to please you with this thing so that we leave it to Allah. Because we are doing this and that and that. So the parents were aware that the government is not having the will to pursue this case. Parents taken upon themselves to take the matter to court. So, and that's why you had the justice minister trying to say, if citizens want to go to court, they go to court. So what can we do about it? We cannot do something about it. Yes, the citizens want to go to court because they see that you, the person who's supposed to stand for them, you are not standing for them. And they do what is right. That's to go to the court. So if they go to the court, now it's no more a criminal matter there. It's a civil matter. Instead of the government taking an initiative to make it a criminal matter, they deviated. They're trying to slow down the process, saying, this is government, it cannot operate like a private company. Stuff like that one. That's not an excuse one can take as far as governance, who is willing to fight corruption is concerned.
Yeah, but you'll admit that the government cannot force the judiciary to speed up a case just because maybe
you don't need to force the judiciary. You only need to try to provide the tangible evidence that can prosecute a case. There will be no delay in the cases. But you cannot bring a case, even to have a witness, you cannot provide it. And the witness is supposed to be provided by you and is with you. How would the court also take an action? There will be always adjournment.
Okay, this happened in what case? Where the government was to provide a witness, had the witness and didn't want to produce the witness.
You know the Gambia Tourism Board ecologist case?
Yes.
You know that they went to the court. The case was simply struck out because government was not forthcoming with witnesses or respecting, anyway, to present evidence to support their case. So simply because of that reason, the court have no decision, have no other option but to throw the case out. And the case was struck out based on those reasons. So there are many cases that will be taken to the AG chambers, but the cases will stop at AG chambers for conspiracy theories, I call it. Police will provide them, take it there, you ask them, they say, no, we take it to the AG chambers for advice. But the case will stop at AG chambers because AG chambers will say, we have not seen enough evidence to prosecute this matter. The AG chambers, the AG, Attorney General, Minister of Justice is appointed by the President. So if he did not want any case to proceed, he will not go.
Oh, okay. So a UDP government would change that arrangement.
And that's the zero tolerance for corruption we have. And that's why we always call for not only for the enactment of the anti-corruption bill, or not only a mayor formation or establishment of the commission, not only appointing people who has faces of the commission, but to ensure that Gambian people's butut, wherever it went, they will be accounted for.
Okay.
That is what we call accountability. So UDP government stand for accountability, and that's why you always hear these names against Hussein Dabo. People think that they hate Hussein Dabo from nothing. No. Some people hate Hussein Dabo because of those reasons. Because they know that he cannot spare a butut that belongs to the public to drop in an individual pocket that doesn't go to the public. So he will stand for it, even if that is going to cost him. So sometimes that's the senior campaign you had people driving against him, that Hussein Dabo cannot be this, should not be that. If he come, he cannot compromise. But no, because he cares about this country. And that's the UDP stand.
And Haji, we saw a lot of protests in our streets by young people. And some of them you were involved in. One of them actually was organized by the youth wing, which you head of the UDP. Remind us again what you were fighting for.
Uncle Peter, yes. There were a lot of processes recently, and it's true. They are all processes that are definitely important. Because if government continue to ignore the concern of citizens, always you will see protests. And there will be protests in scenarios of not even applying for permit. Because frustrations, one cannot continue to sustain them at your home.
You will protest even without permit?
If it is necessary, yes, of course I will do it. Yes, if it is necessary. So we protested because government has taken an initiative calling it Overseas ID Card is One scheme to Gambian citizens. For us, when we look at the scheme, we thought the government, under the current laws, have no power to do such an activity outside of the country. If you want to issue an ID card outside, there is no way that government can do it without fulfilling those legal mandates. So that is why we wrote to the Gambia Immigration Department in May, because in April they went to Mauritania. When they went there, they raised reasons that there are Gambian citizens there who are there, they need support, they need help, they are in trouble. They raised so many reasons. But for us, we stand that yes, every Gambian citizen's right, it is their right to have documents, and supposed to be done by the Gambia government. But in as much as you should give Gambian people or Gambian citizens those documents, there are also processes and procedures you must follow. If you don't follow those processes and procedures, then we deem that necessary for us to remind them that it is your duty to do that, but the law tells you cannot do this. Do it this way. This is the way you can do it. They did not respond. The only response we get from the GID is to redirect to the Ministry of Interior, which we also reach out to. But up to August, the Ministry did not call us, neither do they respond to our letter. For them, they said they did not anyway receive any letter from us or from the GID concerning about the issue we raised. We think that the government has ignored the concern because there was a press conference that your radio, in fact, attended or covered. That is Gambian ID card scheme, a great concern. I led that group, and I also dropped a letter to the minister through his secretary. But that letter also was never been addressed to, never been responded to. So we think that now it is necessary that, because since that documentations are also having relation to elections, and documentations are also related to the security of citizens, has a party that is thinking of being in government sooner, inshallah, should stand and protect the integrity of that document. And that's why we submitted a permit for procession to raise a concern collectively to ensure that government should know that it's not only coming from Haji, but there is a group of people who are also concerned, and their concerns must be listened to, not only be listened to, but should be addressed. If we think that we want a country that's supposed to be entering in 2026 election in peace, pre-election peace is important to be considered. Post-election also peace is very important to consider. So we cannot have this peace without having fair, transparent, equitable elections for all political players. And we think this scheme is not in the interest of Gambian citizens, but in an interest of one individual party or a group of people who think that they can manipulate the system through these kind of schemes. That's why we protest.
Manipulate what system?
The electoral system. They wanted to, for me, I think they want to manipulate the electoral system. They want to inflate it in their own way, in their own desire. And then when
what they're giving out are ID cards, not voters cards.
Yeah, they cannot give out voters card at this particular time. And they can only give ID card for one to have access to voters card. If I say they can only give ID card, means in those countries today as we speak, without being because they're not transparent with the process. So they can only use ID card scheme as an excuse. But the ultimate goal of the project is to end up giving voters cards.
Okay. Can they give voters cards outside? I thought that's one of the issues with diaspora voting.
Yeah, potentially, UDP is an advocate for the diaspora to vote. And we continue to advocate for it because it's their right to vote.
I know, yes.
We stand with those people in the diaspora. If you can put almost 31% into the GDP of this country, why not you have the right to vote? But even if you cannot put a single butut, it is your right as a citizen to vote. So, but in doing so, government should be transparent with that process. In 2021 election, I think some people challenged this diaspora voting, and the Supreme Court ruled in their favor that diaspora have the right to vote and to be voted for. So if diaspora had the right to vote and to be voted for, IEC did not give us any legal challenge. The only reason they gave us at the time is that there's no sufficient funds to be able to go with this diaspora voting. But recently we've seen that the 2019 election bill, after the rejection of the Barrow 2024 draft constitution, so the MPP and allies, they rejected a clause called Clause 14 in the 2019 election bill that the diaspora cannot be registered because there are some challenges in the constitution. The diaspora is not demarcated as a constituency, therefore they cannot be given the right to vote. For us, which we think that is a flimsy excuse, it's just like trying to deny people their fundamental constitutional right because you don't trust that they are going to vote for you. And in that sense, we advocated that diaspora must vote, and that clause must be reinstated back into the 2019 draft constitution. So the pressure, I know, is not coming only from the UDP. This is a push back from Gambian citizens, concerned people, including some of them are even in the NPP. Now the pressure, I think that it has reached to the international community, who are also forcing them. Now they have no excuse.
Who in the international community?
I cannot name any person, anybody, but there are partners in the international community that are partners to the Gambia, that support Gambia financially, in budget, and on many other things. So if the government is saying that money is our issue to deny Gambians in the diaspora, I know there are partners who are concerned that no right is supposed to be violated because of money. And for that reason, some people might try to give the support financially for Gambian diaspora to vote. So if that is tabled before the government, they have no other excuse. Now, the only thing they can do, if they don't trust the Western diaspora, how can they use their means to ensure that diaspora in Africa should also capitalize in that one to inflate the voter role in the diaspora. Whenever diaspora voting is coming on, they will now say that, yes, we have an equalizer. And that's the point we have seen. We think that if they should do that, they should be transparently communicating that, yes, diaspora voting is coming. The government is coming to implement the diaspora voting. But when we are doing so, this is the process we want to use. We want to first give them Gambian documents. And in giving them Gambian documents, this is the document and the document we are giving them, register them so that the numbers of the Gambian in the diaspora can be known to every Gambian citizen. So that whenever elections are coming, every player in the political field has prepared to do what you can to ensure that whenever they are voting, we all have the equal say to make sure that our policies and programs can convince them to vote. And make sure that that system, when registering, is not inflated with illegal voters. But when you do it behind the scene, I did not know. So with only the name that you want to help Gambian citizens, then that begs the question to ask you, what is going to be the effect of a Gambian ID card in Gabon? What can a Gambian ID card benefit a Gambian citizen in Angola? What can a Gambian ID card benefit a Gambian citizen in Congo? Because I was in those countries. I know a Gambian document like ID card is irrelevant to any of their processes. You cannot go to the bank and make any transaction. In fact, even Senegal here, you cannot go with a Gambian ID card and do any transaction with it. They only ask you a passport. So if you go to Gabon today, you want to give Gambian citizens, anyway, to you, Gambian citizen, an ID card. That ID card cannot give that person a residential permit of Gabon. Cannot be a requirement. It's not even a requirement. The only requirement there to ensure that a Gambian citizen in Libreville, to enable him to travel from Libreville to other parts of Gabon, is a consular card if the person is not having a passport or a residential permit. You can also, a Gambian ID card has an identification in Gabon or Angola or in those countries there. The consular card that is relevant to that process or for that purpose, why that you cannot give that consular card to the Gambian who needed it for a process that is going to be beneficial to him? Okay. So, but we know that consular cards are not requirement to get a voter's card. They cannot give any Gambian citizen a voter's card because they are not a requirement.
So according to you, they are only issuing the ID card because the ID card will give access to those who are receiving it.
Yes.
To the voter's card.
To the voter's card,
which which then makes them potential, participants in the forthcoming election.
Makes them potential to be eligible for registration.
The government,
but I also heard them saying, if government want to register like Gambians in the diaspora, give them voters card, that's not going to be ID card. They talk about birth certificate. Yes, of course, they are giving birth certificate in this scheme. And they are not communicating to that gap.
They are giving birth certificates?
They were giving the Gambian.
They were, but they have stopped.
No, in fact, the whole entire scheme, let me tell you the lack of transparency in this government. This news was broke to us when we applied for the permit. But even the ministry did not know that these people were back. So when we submitted a permit for procession, police requested for us to have like that engagement for the follow-up to the letter we wrote to the GID, and the letter was later redirected to the ministry. So in that discussion, the GID director broke a news that, in fact, why can't you cancel this? Because these people, none of them are now in those countries. They are all brought back in the country. So, but it was a news, even to the ministry there. The ministry, he said, that's supposed to be responding to us.
That the people were supposed to be receiving these national ID cards were already,
No, the people who are issuing the national ID card,
okay.
The immigration officers, they were brought back.
The enrollment team.
Okay. None of them, as we speak, none of them are there. They are all brought back in the country. So, but, our concern is, before you go to those countries, Uncle Peter, governments will have tell us, like, let's say, 800 Gambians are living in Gabon. Among that number, we have like a significant number of 100 people or 300 people need Gambian ID card. But this is the reason that is leading the government to take a team at the expense of Gambian taxpayers to go and enroll those people there. But they did not communicate to us how many Gambians are living there. They did not give us the reasons why they are giving these ID cards in Gabon, because the Mauritanian owners exposed them. They said ID cards are the problems of the Mauritanians, but our brothers and sisters in Mauritania, that was not the problem, because when they issued the ID card and the team came back, that's the time, in fact, those people keep facing the worst problems in Mauritania. So, but in Gabon, there was no scenario of any trouble that Gambians are facing there. That will lead the Gambian government to institute that team urgently to give out the Gambian ID card in Gabon, which is irrelevant to any of their problems there. So, but when they brought back the team also, they never told Gambians that no team is there. So it is only after this pressure started, they recalled the team. So when the team also come, they were keeping quiet about it. When we apply for a permit, they said now they are going, let's now cancel the permit. They are now going for the Mansakunda press briefing to inform Gambians that how many Gambians have the ID card, and among them how many people are rejected. We said no, we are formally requesting the data from you people. How many Gambians have been issued this ID card? What are the documents they use as supporting documents? This must be available. If you people are...
Are you still waiting for answers, or
yes,
those answers have been provided?
No, we are still waiting for answers, because we submitted the letter, but we are yet to get an answer for that one.
Okay.
Yes.
The government argues that under, international instruments, including the Vienna Convention, it can do what it has started doing.
Vienna Convention, nowhere in that Vienna Convention they can bang on to say we have the right under this particular convention agreement.
But that's what they are leaning on.
But they did not. They only say Vienna Convention. On what? Extending public service. That doesn't mean that you have to get a team and go and register ID card outside. Extending public service means that you are there. The consular card is a public service. Why can't you offer the consular card, which is relevant to those people's problem there? They were given passports there. They were given passport in Spain. They started giving passport in Spain and other countries. But the UDP never complained about it.
Because that is okay.
Of course, that is okay. That is okay. Gambians travel with passports. And passports should be issued to Gambians in the diaspora.
Where they are.
Where they are. That should be done. But
so that bit of the Vienna Convention agreements and whatever...
It's just false.
For the passports to be issued at consular services and all of that,
of course.
You're okay with that?
Of course. We are very okay with that.
But not the national ID
card. Not the national ID card. Because the national ID card, look, Uncle Peter, in this African country, the technique they are using, we are aware of it. If I'm Soare in an English-speaking country,
yes,
spell my name in Soare. Go to French-speaking country, spell my name in Soare. Go to Portuguese-speaking countries, spell my name in Soare. You would see the difference. And a Portuguese citizen or a Malian citizen, a Guinean citizen will not surrender their passport, national passports, for a Gambian passport. So if you go to those countries, that they all go there, we all gather there. Like you have the Guineans, you have the Malians, you have the Burkinabes, you have the Beninois, you have the Nigerians. We are all based there. But you have Kamara in Mali, Swane in Mali, like the way you have Swane in Mali and Suare in Guinea. When we gather in Gabon...
I used to call you Swane.
Of course, really, no.
Until you read it.
Yes, my family name is Swane. This error occurred in school time. When
you write it with an R, but you pronounce it with an N.
Yes, no, it is pronounced officially on the paper, Soare. But if you go...
That's what I'm saying. So yes, on the papers, you write it with an R.
Exactly.
But then when you speak it, it's
N.
It's Swane.
It's N, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So when you go to Guinea, this is what you find there. The Swanes. But the spellings are the differences. So if you want to go and give ID cards, passports to those people, in Gabon, it is easy with Malian passport to have Gabonese documents. If you want to have Gabonese residential permit, or if you naturalize in Gabon, it's easy with Malian passport or French-speaking passports. They will never surrender their Malian passport for a Gambian passport there. But if you want to have them registered for election, and they are friends to me in Gabon, I am a friend there, he is a Malian, I'm a Malian, but we live together there, has people from West Africa. So now that we are coming to have election, I can simply convince them, go, take this ID card, we want to go in election so you can vote for us. Any other thing that is on top of it, you and him knows what you are going to do there. But that ID card is purposely, I can tell you, confirm it here, is for electoral purpose.
Okay, let's move on. We will be getting the Minister of External Affairs later this week on Thursday. So government will be in a position to respond to that. Another issue you raised during the course of the protest was the election deposit, which has been revised upwards. surely if you want to be president of this country, I mean, you have to show that financially, you're okay. You have, you're strong financially. Not to come now and try to use the presidency, to financially enrich yourself. Although people will say, well, it doesn't matter. You can be a multi-billionaire once you are, corruption-minded. Your hunger for additional wealth will know no bounds. But what's the reason of the UDP youth wing or Haji, who is sitting in front of me, to not want the election deposit for president to be raised to $1 million?
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter. You see, Gambians have to understand that integrity is not judged based on wealth. One's competency is not decided by money. One's moral compass is not determined by money. I could be very poor, and yet still your millions doesn't take me to do the thing that can jeopardize the interest of the collective masses. Barrow was very rich. Before I come to that particular question you asked, he was very rich before coming to power, according to him. He have millions in his account before he was elected into power. He have several landed properties before he came to power. But it doesn't stop President Barrow from kidnapping, I call it, or hijacking a state property to be changed into his name. That is the former Chief Justice residence in Fajara. Barrow was very rich, according to him, right? But it does not stop him from sponsoring a bill called the former president's bill to be paid equally as the sitting president. He came with that idea. To also be accorded with privileges like the sitting president. He came with that idea. So all the millions he was having before being in government, it does not give him the courage to stop working with people allegedly being involved or being suspended or being banned for involving in corruption. He hired them back. He in fact sponsored a bill called the Commission of Inquiry Amendment Bill to rehire people who were...
People like who?
Of course, people like Muhammad Sabali, his presidential advisor. People like Nyoguba. The Jana Commission recommendation was very clear on them. But Barrow rehired them back because of greed for power. So we think that Section 26 of the 1997 Constitution is very clear. Unreasonable restrictions cannot be like a justifiable reason for one to say this is why we want to have Uncle Peter as president because he's rich. But Uncle Peter is very poor, then he cannot be a president. When Uncle Peter's integrity, his competence is more value to the Gambia than the person who is a multimillionaire. So for us, the Constitution is very clear. You cannot use on reasonable reasons to restrict people from participating in public affairs. So the draft 2019 election bill, I think that portion there, as I said, is a sentimental reaction. Emotionally, the people in the majority caucus are reacting to the rejection of the 2024 draft constitution. For them, they think that draft constitution was rejected by the minority caucus. So now, how can we now narrow down the space to ensure that people who want to fight for the interest of the common masses cannot just take part in the public or in public affairs? So increasing from $5,000 to $150,000 is for a parliamentarian. For example, I will quote Omar Jato Jammeh, Honorable Omar Jato Jammeh, a member of Janjambure constituency. He's doing a wonderful job. Neither he is UDP, nor is he MPP. But he's serving the interests of the Gambian people, not only the people of Janjambure. So, but at the time of his National Assembly election, if you said Omar Jato Jammeh and his people who are supporting him to ensure that they have to table to an IEC $150,000 Gambian dollars, excluding his campaign money, to be able to reach to every household, where is he going to get that money?
He would not have made it.
Even if he's going to do it, but it will be very tough for him. Or discourage him, in fact, for testing himself. So we think that, yes, there should be a reasonable fee attached to it. But excessive has 150,000.
So
that is to narrow down the space.
So what would be reasonable?
No, I wouldn't recommend to them anything that is reasonable. But I will tell him that we will not allow that bill to pass with that. If it pass with that one, this means that MPP and Alliance members, they are not working for the interest of this country. Because what we rejected in 2015, when former President Jammeh brought up that bill, increasing the fee for nomination to $1 million, all those people, majority of those people in parliament, their party members were part of the people who protested against it in 2015. In fact, Jammeh reduced it down to $500,000. The same people.
Would that be a reasonable amount? 500,000?
It's not even reasonable. It's not even reasonable. For me,
it was still exorbitant.
It's exorbitant, of course, because I believe that the level of unemployment in this country, the level of poverty in this country, would still stop some people. The fee is not a problem, but if you want to sponsor a candidate with that nature, not only if presidency but parliamentary or mayoral, councillorship, 3,000 to 10,000, mayors $100,000. If a party want to sponsor candidates across the country, and you want to have clean money, and that's why we were very happy to endorse and support the 2020 draft constitution, because political parties should have tell people where they are getting their money. This is going to give Gambians that clear understanding that yes, our parties coming to government are not favoring individuals in terms of contract and procurement awardings to people who supported them during their campaign periods. But the procurement processes, contracts awarded are based on merit-based and the people who deserve it most, as far as qualifications are concerned. Okay. But with the current status quo, Barrow and his people coming up with this one, this is telling you that the type of bureaus they are building across is the type of campaign they want to drive and eliminate opponents to ensure that there's no divergent views in our political discourse. Okay. And if that happens, it is us, the Gambian people, who are going to suffer. That's why the UDP, we rejected it. We think it is unfair, and then it definitely means that what we fought in 2015 to 2016, the purpose that is defeated.
What can you tell us about, the selection? Is it selection or election process for UDP flag bearer, which is ongoing right now, and it's causing a lot of discourse and public attention?
UDP will always lead the democratic, how do I call it? If you come to democratic issues in this country, the UDP always lead it. We train Gambians on how democracy works. One could see it ugly. One could see it, there is a brouhaha in UDP. One could see there is a fight in UDP. No, but it's not fight. We open something to the public that you own it. And if you own something, you have to participate. So this selection process is a democratic process UDP has been doing. And that is why the process this year also is not an exception. We did not only say we are going to select a flag bearer, but we open it for a public debate. And that's the debate you are seeing going around. People are expressing different views, different choices.
Give us an update. Who has applied so far that you know of? Of course, you can only share information you know. Anyway,
I know that Mr. Dabo has applied.
The party leader?
The party leader applied since on the 26th, 6th of this month. No, last month. Okay. Today we are on the 2nd.
We are in September, yes, already.
September, yes. 26th of August, he submitted his application.
That's Tuesday of last week.
Yes, he submitted his application. Yesterday, I also heard that Mayor Bensouda also applied. And then I think there will be other applicants also, but I have not seen any other name coming. But these two names have been captured by the media, credible media houses. Although I'm not in the position to speak for the party on that, I also rely on the media that I saw that they might not publish something that is not authentic to them. The letters are addressed to the national president, and I have no access to the letters. I don't know who apply or who doesn't apply as an executive member. But as they rely on those information outside, I can also rely on them and say that Mr. Labo has applied since on the 26th, and Mayor Benz would have also applied yesterday as well, going around.
And when is D-Day?
The D-Day is on the 10th.
That's when we will know.
Inshallah.
Wednesday of next week.
Inshallah. The public will know exactly who is the flag bearer of the UDP. And I can tell you, the competent one, the most capable one, with the political will to change the status quo. I talk about the laws of this country that we fought in 1996 to 2016. They are still unchanged. What causes is lack of political will. I talked about the economic reforms in this country. What has stopped us? World Bank last week has come up with a revolution that, look, Gambia, the debt burden is too high on us. We must prioritize and reduce unnecessary expenditures. We must size it. We must, spend based on our size. We must be prioritizing on productive sectors. And that is the type of candidate with the political will, the consistency in politics, the fight the person continue to do in the struggle that Gambian people are fighting since 1996 to date. That's the type of candidate among the applicants we're going to bring. We are not going to give Gambian citizens anything that they could get. Among the applicants, anybody who is selected, Uncle Peter, trust me, the person will serve the collective interest of all Gambians if elected president, inshallah.
The person who is eventually going to be elected, will he be guaranteed the total support of every UDP supporter today?
If those UDPians believe in democracy, if those people believe that democracy is about different choices, divergent views, and dissenting opinions, if those people know that UDP came a long way, in fact, 2023, we have exercised this process, this activity. 16 applicants applied from West Coast region. One was selected. The one that was selected, all the rest rally behind the person, campaign vigorously to ensure that UDP and Gambian people wins. And that has happened. So there's no difference for this one also. Like I said, democracy is a process. And democracy talked about transparency. Democracy talked about choice. And democracy talked about views that are going to be divergent and opinions that are going to be dissenting. So if these principles are respected as the core value of our today's democracy, I believe any candidate that is selected, no UDPian will go against it, because it is in interest, as I said, how do we get these laws to be reformed? Who is the suitable person? How do we get the economy of the Gambia to cater and be justly distributed among Gambian citizens without being biasness, without being favored, without just misprioritizing in spending it? The type of caliber who suit this thing is the person who will be selected. And I believe the person will deliver to expectation.
Fantastic.